Well, good morning. Welcome back. It is just after 6 o'clock. Finally put a clock in the motorhome. It's quiet here at the campground, although somebody with an obnoxiously loud motorhome just left here a minute ago. We're making fruit rolls today. So we've got our dough. It's already made. I didn't film that because it's basically the exact same process as the pizza rolls that we made the other day. So that will already be online by the time this goes out there. So the other thing we have here is we have some fresh made jam. This is cherry berry. This has got blueberries, strawberries, dark sweet cherries, and tart cherries. And I didn't film that process because it was 150 degrees in here and the camera doesn't like that kind of heat, so sorry. If that's something that people are interested in seeing, we can revisit that later when it's not quite so hot. We are about 74 in here right now, so we should be okay for a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and get this dough rolled out. So I'm just flouring this. It probably doesn't show up very well on there, and I'm not seeing it at all because you're way up here. So it probably doesn't show very well on there because it's white on white. But this silicone mat has a texture to it. So even if it doesn't look like there's any flour sitting on the surface, there's flour sitting down in that texture, and that's going to help it not adhere just as well as the visible stuff. So with the legs on here, this table is slightly taller, not super tall. I wouldn't mind if it were a good foot or so taller. The downside being that it is slightly more wobbly side to side. Not super wobbly. No, not super wobbly, just a little bit more than it was before. Okay, so I'm going to get some flour on my hands, just kind of massage this down, same as before. It's cold from being in the refrigerator, but it is remarkably plastic for being as cold as it is. And again, I don't mean to say that it's a petroleum-based artificial material. I mean to say that plastic just means it's pliable, and it really is. For as cold as it is, it's like Play-Doh texture. Usually it takes it a little bit to start warming up a little and get that pliability, at least in my experience. But this is a very soft dough, and I am like 2/3 of the way there, and it's not even up to temperature, like room temperature yet. By accident, last time I did the last batch of pizza rolls in the electric oven, and I discovered two things. One, the temperature gauge on the, or dial on the oven is not accurate. Big surprise. And two, the rolls baked up really well at a little colder temperature. So at 350, they baked good, but at 350 on the electric, it turned out to be 325, and they baked slower and they got a good extra rise. Look what we've got outside here. I don't know if you can see him, her, it, whatever. Deer just wandering on by. I get that at home too, but still, it's nice to see him wandering about freely. I don't know how often some people get the chance to see them things wandering around like that, but I don't have my glasses on because they don't film very well. So I could tell it was a blacktail. That was about it. Looked on the young side. I may be mistaken. Maybe it was just a doe, but it looked like a younger, maybe a yearling. I don't know. I am in no way a deer expert. I know exactly two things about deer. I see them all the time, and they're tasty. So anyway, as I was saying, 325, they baked slower. They actually got a bit of a rise in the oven and made for a really nice bake, right up to the point that the electric oven burned the crap out of the bottom of them because somebody forgot to put the crumb tray / heat dissipator tray in the bottom of the oven where it belongs, because the gas oven rack is too wide for my bowls. I have these ones I used in the pizza rolls. The rack, they sit like that with one bar right in the middle, so they're really tippy in there. So I was trying to find a way to make them sit steady, and I forgot to put it back. Oops. But while they were unsuitable to share, they turned out to be quite delicious anyway. So I think I'm just going to use these ones today for the fruit rolls, because that was the intention last time with the pizza rolls. And then I found the 10-ounce Pyrex. So I used those for the pizza rolls, and those worked out pretty well. But I'm going to go ahead and try these ones today. These are just a large size muffin pan. Go on there. So I'll just get those ready once. Actually, I could probably do that right now while this is resting. Spray a little oil in here, and I will brush it around in there. Thought I lost my brushes, but then I remembered how deep the drawers really are. So I'm just going to use my brush here and just spread this around. And that should be fine. You could also use butter if you want to butter it, or lard or tallow or any of those. I just excuse me, got the early morning allergy season sinuses going here. As I was saying, I'm just using a little bit of peanut oil, because that's what or corn oil. I have corn oil in here right now. And that's the same thing I oiled my bowl with. typically I'd use olive oil for that, but oh, here comes another little deer. This one's definitely a youngin'. It didn't come over. It came right over here to the corner and then heard me talking and said, "Oh, no, where's Mom?" So anyway, as I was saying, I usually use olive oil for my dough bowl, and it works better. This didn't seem to work quite as well in there for the dough. But I didn't want to do that because the olive oil I have is not a light flavored olive oil. It's got a fairly strong flavor. But as you can see, there's a lot of like little bits that's stuck with the corn oil. It's a little on the softer side, somewhere between a jam and a thick syrup. And it will set a little more firm once it gets in the refrigerator. But like I said, this takes a long time to cool off in a big bowl like this, so it was too hot to go into the refrigerator last night. In fact, yeah, it's still slightly warm. So, and ordinarily, if I was making this much jam, it would be going into jars, and those jars would be canned, and then they would cool, and it would cool a lot faster because there'd be a lot less of it in each container. But you absolutely don't want to just throw that in the refrigerator hot, because it will potentially ruin everything else in the refrigerator and can overtax your compressor and destroy your refrigerator if you do it too often. Plus, I also didn't really have anywhere to put it in the refrigerator last night because I had the dough in there, and I absolutely would not put this in the ammonia fridge because it wouldn't even have recovered by now. The refrigerators in an RV, the ammonia evaporative refrigerators, are not intended really to cool things down. In fact, most of them, if you look in the book, they specifically tell you to use your refrigerator in the house to cool things down and then put them in there. And the reason is because they have a remarkably slow recovery. So if it's 35 degrees in there and you put a bunch of stuff in there that's 50 degrees, instead of that 50-degree stuff coming down to 35, it will bring the refrigerator up to 50 degrees. And then it will take it anywhere from hours to a bunch of hours to bring everything down to temperature. So if I stuck this in there when it was fresh off the stove, everything in there would probably still be in the 50s or 60s. Okay, so we have our ceiling strip left bare over there. And we have our starter line here, mostly bare. And everything else is mostly covered. I want to spread some of this over here. I've got some thin spots, and then I can come back and fill this one. Okay, and I've got some big chunks. I didn't blend this. I just made this, and then I used a potato masher to break apart the berries that were still intact. That way they weren't whole berries in there, but there are still some pretty large pieces. So now we're just going to sprinkle this over the top here. And you can use whatever sugar you want on here. Brown sugar would probably be a good choice. But if all you have is just the granulated white sugar, that will work fine. It's almost like I knew what I was doing. That amount worked out perfectly. Okay. No, that doesn't make these cinnamon rolls. Because if we were making cinnamon rolls, there would be a lot more of that in there. It would be slightly different stuff. But that's the biggest thing. There would be a lot more of it. Okay, now the challenge in rolling these is that the berries and stuff in here, it's kind of like the pizza rolls actually. It's remarkable how similar this is to making the pizza rolls, because you have the same challenge with the pieces inside and the way they roll in relation to the dough. So makes it a bit of a challenge to get it to roll super neat. Trying to lift and lay this dough over so that it's not just pushing everything out of the way as it goes, but it's not working quite as well as I would hope. And this dough is so soft and pillowy. That doesn't help in a situation like this. I think I might just go this way. Okay, so just kind of work it this way. Pull this around to keep it rolling until I get where I want to be with these. This end one's going to be a bit anemic, I think. And the jam is kind of soaking through the dough. That was kind of an unexpected turn of events there. So let's just clean this off real quick and kind of bring this back over here. Well, it doesn't really matter if there's jam on it, but okay. So now I want to see exactly how long this is, because I made some guesses last time and they didn't work out so hot. Okay. So we are 23 5/8. So that's not gonna work as far as just saying X inches. These are silly soft. Okay, so we're just gonna go for it. To hell with it. These are going to probably make a big mess moving them from this into the pan, because as you can see, this is really, really soft. So I'm not really going to try and sell you sunshine and butterflies. It's going to be a messy process. Okay, so let's go this way. So I have a feeling these are going to be prettier than they, or tastier than they are pretty. There's just nothing solid here. Although as I'm getting kind of into a rhythm and figuring out how to do this part, it's getting a little easier. Okay, so now we've got 6 in here. These will be in the other pan, obviously. So these are going to sit and rise for a while here. And as I get everything settled and start getting things in place, the goal is to not be baking in the motorhome outside the house, but to be doing this on the road, not necessarily in campgrounds, because it's fairly hard to get into these dang things. fact, I only managed one reservation per month because that was all I could get. So I'm gonna throw this jam in the fridge. And I know you're just kind of staring at the table right now, but my hands are all sticky, so I'm trying to unbury my sink so I can get to the water and wash my hands off, and then I can. So here we have our rolls are sitting here. They're gonna rise for probably half an hour or so. Then once they get done rising, we'll go in 325. Probably start about 20 minutes and then adjust from there. So these are going to take a little longer than the Pyrex, but not as long as if they were all in a 9x13. And that's because there's air movement between the cups on these. Same thing with the Pyrex. You have the air moving around them, but this is more of a cluster. So it's going to probably take a little longer than the Pyrex because those were spread out. So that's basically where we're at now. Okay, so at 45 minutes, we've pulled out the first batch here. So you can see they've got a nice golden on them. The jam's cooked in there. We're going to go ahead and let them cool in the pan here for a little while. And anyway, like I was saying, we're going to let them cool in here for a little bit. Then we'll get in here with the offset spatula and go around them and then try and get them out of here without destroying them while they're still warm enough to be loose, but once they're cool enough to be firm, because this jam's cooked down now. As it cools, it's gonna be thicker and more solid than it was before. And then these are fluffy and puffy, but they're cooked well, but they're still soft. So we'll let them cool. See if we can get them off of here. Yeah, they should come off of there pretty well. That cherry berry stuff is amazingly good. But so that's that. Once we can try and get them out of there, we'll have them on the rack and we'll take a look at them again. Okay, so all of our fruit rolls are finished in the oven. The first batch had time to come out of the pan and cool. So I've got it drizzled with a vanilla sour cream icing. And these ones are just going to sit here and let the icing set. And the other ones are over here. And so taking them out of the pan, some of the fruit in the bottom kind of stayed in the pan. So I just scraped that and just put it in the top. That's going to happen because these are open on the bottom. So now as they sit here on the parchment and finish cooling, this is going to kind of set up and they're going to stick to the parchment. That's fine. You can peel it off and it's going to stay together because that fruit will set up. It's kind of like a pie filling. As it cools, it will set up. So these ones are going to get something different. So here we are. Let's see what we're looking at. There we go. So this is the frosted ones here, and the iced ones are in this container. You saw what those looked like already. So now I've got it just sitting in front of the fan, let it kind of set up a little bit, and then I will get this one closed up and put it away. So that's the berry rolls. They turned out pretty good. Like I said, a couple of things I'm going to try different when I do those next time. See if I can't get them a little bit less gooey, soft, smushy to get them in the pans a little cleaner. But they did bake up nice. They did turn out looking pretty good. And that cherry berry filling is just delicious. So hopefully that was something that you enjoyed seeing how to make. Hopefully you'll give it a shot, or if you're in the area, you know, these might be available. We'll see. But hopefully you enjoyed watching that, and you'll give me a like down below. If you're not subscribed, click that button, hit the bell, make sure you know what's coming up, because we've got some more good stuff coming your way, and you're not going to want to miss it. So thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next time.